Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter, and yesterday we were discussing the 44th sloka, which we could not complete. Today we shall see it. Purvabhyasena tenaiva hriyate havasopi saha jigyasurapi yogasya sabda brahmati vartate. By that very former practice, he is born in spite of himself. Even he who merely wishes to know yoga goes beyond the Brahmic word, Brahma word. He goes beyond the word of Brahma. So two factors we were discussing. One is in spite of him. Avasaha api saha. Though he is helpless, how he comes to the path. He feels a sincere sadhak, he feels dispirited in some points of his sincere continuous sadhana practice, and somewhere he may be feeling helpless. One meaning. The other meaning also, he has no control over his rebirth because it is decided by his purva karma, the previous karmas. He strived hard, but yet he could not get success, and he has left in midway the path of yoga, and now he is forced to have a birth in a comfortable and favorable family, which will support him from all sides, pure and wealthy family. So in this way he will be supported, though he has got no free will. In that way he may feel helpless, but forcibly he will be placed in a better position. That's all. In this way we saw Jigyasurapi yogasya sabda brahmati vartate. Even one who only wishes to know the yoga, he will go beyond the word and its word meaning. He will go beyond it. So this is what we were discussing yesterday. We could not complete. This Sabda Brahma. Sabda Brahma is, yesterday we were discussing about the pointer and pointed object. The pointer is not the subject of our discussion, but the pointed object is the subject. So, just as we give some hints to someone to see something, we indicate by our finger. See, what a beautiful bird sitting on that tree. So the seer will not look at your finger, but the direction of finger, where it indicates. The goal is something else, but the indicator is something else. Indicator will help you, but it will not make you achieve the goal. So this is how these words, they are only indicators. So according to my understanding, all the words, all the language is not meaningful, but indicative and symbolic. If this is kept in the mind, all the language, they have got no meaning of their own, but yet they are indicative only and symbolic. They indicate something. So, when we go to the depth of the meaning, we know the value of the object and meaning of it in its true sense, from central point of meaning. And in this way, if we go to all the languages, all the words in every language, they indicate centrally one word only, which is the name of the Absolute, which is beyond everything. So that was one syllable sound is called Sabda Brahma. Of course, in spite of that, we have so many terms for the absolute truth. Some say Brahman, some say truth, some say Paramatma, the Supreme Self, some say it is one without a second. And yesterday we were discussing about the event horizon according to modern scientific terms. So from all sides we have to see how all these words, they are basically, centrally, they have only one meaning. And imagine in your mind now, draw a circle. Circle will have a center. Without center you cannot draw a circle. So if the periphery of the circle means the circumference from the of the circle, if all the dots they want to come to closer and closer, what will happen to them? They will have only one form, that is the center. This is how all the languages, as far as you go abroad, away from the center, all the words will have difference in meaning. But when they go towards the center, they lose their meaning, and this meaning, they mean only one word, one sound. Understood now? All the language, they have got only one meaning, that is the absolute truth. This is called indicative meaning, lakshartha. In Sanskrit we say lakshartha, indicative meaning, but the word meaning is different. Word will have different meanings because they are not in the center. They are away from the center, far from each other. So always we have to be very careful in what context, what word used in what way, what motive, what is the previous connection, and what will be the future meaning, pointing what the word is being used. All these we have to take into consideration, then only we can have true meaning of a word. Or else our meaning is haphazard. Of course we mean something, but that is not complete. So everywhere when we explain something, some paragraph or some poem, some stanza, then we have to give context in what where it is said, how it is said, who said it, in what context, what was before it, and what will be the after subject, then only the middle portion will be understood clearly. है कि नहीं? So this is how we have to understand what is called Sabda Brahma. Sabda Brahma is one syllable, one word only, that is the central word which is one syllable, and then that disappears and it ends in the indication what it indicated. The word will disappear and the indication will be there. The object of indication will be there. That is beyond sound. So, this is how we have to understand Sabda Brahma Ativartate. He goes beyond the sound word of the Absolute. Understood now? That is in other ways from different seers we have seen. Nada Bindu Kalatitam, about Guru's state or the state of the absolute truth or the Brahman, whatever you say, the absolute one. That is beyond sound, sound's pronunciation, and when the pronunciation ends and that melts in the absolute silence. That is called Sabda. Sabda Brahmadi Vartate. He comes to, the sincere sadhak comes to understand what is the goal. But he is not able to reach it, but he gets the point indicated by the sound. This is how the inquirer, the jigyansu, one who inquires about the truth, he will know what is indicated by the sound or by the word. That is how we have to understand Sabda Brahmati Vartate. One, the sincere questioner, he goes beyond the sound and he understands, he gets some ideas of the truth which he has to strive for. Then he will not be derailed from the path. His goal is fixed now. Without having the goal, if you start your journey, what will happen to you? That is a must. The goal should be fixed. That should not be changed. On this basis only Lord Krishna said in Gita itself, Swadharme nidhanam shreyah paradharmo bhayavaha. There are several ways to reach the goal. There will be hundreds of ways to reach the peak of the mountain. But peak is one. That should not be forgotten. Adopt any path, but don't change the path. If you change the path every now and then, pardon?
Don't change the goal.
Don't change your path. Swadharme nidhanam sreya. Don't change your path to achieve the goal. Goal is fixed. Path should be also one only. You should adopt one path only. If you change the goal, your path may be changed. So goal should be fixed and path should be fixed. If you go on changing your path every now and then you will not be able to reach the goal. Goal should be fixed and path should be fixed. On this basis only, Lord Krishna again said, warned, rather he warned, na buddhi vedam janayed ajnanam jnana sanginam. One who understands the situation, which person, which seeker, which traveler is adopting which path. If he doesn't change the path, all the roads lead to Rome. So one should not change your path. Yeah, on this basis, a knower of the all-round vision should not discourage anyone from his path to divert. Whatever one does, he will achieve the goal one day or other. All the roads go to the peak. So go on striving on your own path, whatever it is. Don't compare it with others and don't mislead it. And one, the knower of the situation should not discourage anyone. No, whatever you are doing that is wrong, come to me, I shall show you another path. That is wrong. A true knower will never say so. Whatever you are doing, that will be right. Don't be misled. Go on with it with full strength, faith and devotion and one-pointed attention. That is called yoga. You should not divert from your goal and your path. Take any path you like. There may be difference in time, situations and achieving. How do you get it? When do you get it? All them may be. There will be differences, but goal is sure to be achieved. This is what Lord says to be understood. By that very former practice, he is borne on in spite of himself, when he who merely wishes to know yoga goes beyond the Brahmic word. Now we shall see, according to our explanation, the man who fell from yoga is carried to the goal which he intended to reach in his previous birth by the force of sanskaras. And we have seen how the sanskaras will guide him in the path. Previous sanskaras will help him. It will force him of the by the force of the sanskaras of the practice of yoga, though he may not be conscious of them. This is in spite of. Though may not he know how he is being guided, how he is being supported, yet he will be surely supported. He may not be conscious of them, and even if he may not be willing to adopt the course of yogic discipline on account of force of some evil karma. This is another point we have to understand. Nothing is absolutely good, nothing is absolutely bad, because it is relative. So where there will be good, there will be something bad. So now he is put in the truck and he is driving his hard, his level best, but yet by the force of Maya or by his evil actions done before, that also will be there. If they get chances, they will raise their head and they will try to mislead you. Because every action has its reaction. And we have already seen the human birth is somewhat equal in good and bad, then only we can get a human birth. So evil will be there if the good is not very strong, then evil will take over. And another rule also, another rule of the karmic theories and law of nature also is always applicable. In the nature, the eternal fight is going on. Every two, because it is relative, there will be pairs of opposites, and that is how the whole creation is composed by pairs of opposites. So good will be there means bad will be there, and there will be fight between good and bad. This is how from Puranas we know there will be always battle between the demons and gods, good and bad. And the stronger will win over the weaker one. This is the natural law. There is no concession here. This is the law of nature. You cannot avoid it. So there is chance of being misled. And that is due to many reasons, maybe due to your evil impressions carried forth from the last birth, or by the situation, by these conditions, by the time. So many conditions are there. Maybe we were seeing in the discussing today itself and yesterday also in Yoga Varsity class, how there will be differences due to many reasons. The same thing will appear in different forms. Why? How? Because there is difference in composition. 5 tanmatras, 5 basic elements. There is difference. And there is difference in time and situations and conditions. There is difference in perception, how there will be contact of the objects with the senses, and there will be difference in the upadhis, means the taken up forms. There will be difference in the forms and names. So everywhere there is difference. So naturally there is always suspicion. Until and unless you have reached the absolute equilibrium, there is every chance anywhere you can fall down. You can be misled. Because bad and good always there. Unless until you go beyond it. There what we were discussing about the event horizon. Up to the horizon of twos, means pairs of opposites, that is called events. Event means this comparison, this relationship, these actions and reactions, this seer, seen and seeing process. So all these are under the events according to our modern scientists. And this is same also from the philosophical point of view. And the horizon means the limit. Beyond it, there is no dualistic world. So there is no event. Beyond it, absolute silence, which is termed as one without a second by the philosophers, and by the modern scientists they say the absolute singularity. Absolute singularity, same thing as one without a second. There is no possibility of a second. But it is one, but that cannot be counted as one, because one means there is expectation of the second. So you cannot count it as one. That is called Sabda Brahma. Beyond the limit means keep quiet, absolute silence. The kingdom of silence. So he says, if he had not done any great evil action which could overwhelm his yogic tendencies, he will certainly continue these yogic practices in this birth very vigorously through the force of the yogic sanskaras created by his yogic practices in his previous birth. From this we can guess and we can also be sure he has done something more good than evil. That's how he is being supported by all means. He is born in a wealthy and pure family, so that he will be supported from all sides. So that itself shows he has done more good and less bad maybe. Yes?
70-30?
No, 95-5. 99-1. Maybe 99.99999. Maybe there is little left only to achieve, such as our bright examples, our Ramana Maharshi, our
Brahmachaitan Maharaj, Gondavali.
yes, and our Paramahansa Dev, Ramakrishna Paramahansa Dev, and Jnana Dev. Many examples are there. In this world they have to do little. That's all. Everything is done previously. That is 99% 999. Just little left. Raman all of a sudden got up from the school. Arunachali is coming, calling me. And got there, went there and sat. That's all. That much was to be done. And little was left, and as a student he had to go to the school, and always his mind was somewhere else. Jadabharat also. Many such examples are there where they have done everything in the previous births, very little left only to make a full stop in their struggles. So in this way, if the force of the evil actions is stronger, the yogic tendencies will be overpowered by suppressed for some time. As soon as the fruits of the evil actions are exhausted, the force of the yogic sanskaras will begin to manifest itself again. He will start his yogic practices vigorously and attain the final beatitude of life. On this, I remember a story of such fight. When the evil is over, then your previous good will overpower it. Due to some reason, in between, evil may overpower the good. Nala Damayanti story. Nala was a great king. He was famous to give decision, and there was a fight between Mahalakshmi, the goddess of wealth, and Sunny, the powerful planet. They had some fight, who is great. So they could not decide, and they went to many judges. In the heaven, the Lord of gods, Indra, he was afraid to give decision, though he knew it, but yet he was unable to declare it because both are equally strong. If you give decision on favor of one, the other will be inimical to you. So they were afraid they didn't give any decision. From many sources they were dispirited, and they came to Nala, the well-known judge who gives a decision very efficiently. They came to him. So Nala was very clever. He asked, give me little time, at least a week, and come after a week, I will give you the judgment. So in between, Nala arranged two thrones made up of, one is gold, other is silver, and covered it fully so that nothing will be known from outside. And when both of them came, so Nala asked them to take their seats between these two thrones. Please take your seat. So naturally Lakshmi will go towards the gold, and because she is the goddess of gold, wealth, and Sunny sat on the silver throne. And when they asked, come on, tell us, give us the decision, who is greater? So Nala said, you know yourself. You have to know yourself, who is great, who is not great. Look at your thrones. Means lottery. So when Sunny saw it, oh, you fellow, you have brought me down, I shall see you. He was looking for a chance to take revenge, and he got a chance, and as a result, Nala had to, because he was important planet, so he has got so much power to do something on the actions and reactions. He is a dominating power in the nature. That is called planet. And so he made Nala suffer for a pretty long time. Nala accepted everything. And finally, that period is over. Everything has limitations. When that was over, Lakshmi came forward, my dear child, now my turn. I shall make you king of kings. Then good overpowered the bad. From this story, of course, story is very interesting and long one. But essentially this is the meaning of the story. When there is fight between the good and bad, one will overpower the other. But there is limitations of time and situations, everything. This is how, even if in spite of means, this is the meaning of in spite of. Though he will be feeling sometimes helpless, but yet he will be bound to achieve the goal. Maybe little delay due to Maya. Maya means several natural causes, evil causes. Even an inquirer in whom a desire for information about yoga is kindled goes beyond the Brahmic word, that is the Vedas. Vedas. Yesterday you said yes, correctly, but Vedas means multiple. Veda ends in one syllable. Yesterday we were discussing on four highest sentences of Vedas, of the four Vedas, and they have also got one essential sound, that is monosyllable sound. So, he rises superior to the performer of the Vedic rituals and ceremonies. He is beyond the entanglement of forms and ceremonies. He is not satisfied with the mere ritualism. He thirsts for the satisfaction higher than that given by the sensual objects. Now we have to think, Vedas always give both the ways. The desires which can be fulfilled and they will have good results. So by performing rituals, that means yajna, and with motives, with sankalp, with the desire to achieve a good result. That's how many yajnas are done. So this is, of course, it is in the cycle. It is not ending, it is unending. So, abrahma bhuvana loka punaravartino Arjuna. Do as much good things you may like to do, but you will of course achieve so much good results and you will enjoy it. Then we have discussed how the 5-star hotels and jail and your home, 3 stages, where you are able to multiply your good works. But that also will end one day or other. Again and again you have to do goods, and again you have to come down to zero. So it is unending process. So this person who is a yoga bhrashta and who is sincere and who knows about the truth, goal is fixed, he will not be diverted from the path. He will not be persuaded by sensual pleasures and desirous rituals, and he will not be satisfied by enjoying all these enjoyments for a pretty long time. That we have already discussed. Prapya punya kritam lokan. Again he has to come down. So now he has discriminative power by his previous sanskaras. Now he will not be bewildered, he will not be confused by the persuasion of sensual enjoyments. He thirsts for satisfaction higher than that given by these sensual objects. This is how he goes beyond Vedas. Vedas give both the ways. You can fulfill your desires successfully and go on enjoying your life. And you can end your cycle of birth and death also. Both the ways are there. So you have to choose your path. And this sincere yoga bhrashta will be able to choose his better path. And he will. He will. He who simply wishes to know the nature of the scriptures of yoga frees himself from the Sabda Brahma, that is from the effects of the Vedic rituals and ceremonies. If this be the case of the simple inquirer, how much more exalted should be the condition of a real practitioner or knower of yoga, or of one who is established in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. How he will be a failure? By no means. Some poet gives some examples of Ganga Avtaran. He gives the example. If the ancestors of Bhagirath, who were burnt into ashes by curse of a great sage Kapil, they waited for 3 generations to be taken from hell to heaven, and that was possible only when the Ganga comes, the pure most water touches the ashes of that ancestors, then only they can go from heaven to hell, hell to heaven. That happened by the strong effort of King Bhagirath. He did it. He got succeeded in it. And the poet gives the example. If the ashes are touched by the Ganga water, which is pure most, and by that simple touch after long time, they could go from hell to heaven, what will happen? One who willingly, devotionally, faithfully, one who drinks Ganga water and takes a dip in Ganga and stays near Ganga and worships Ganga, what will happen to him? Will he not be liberated from the cycle of birth and death? Will he not be released? Will he not attain moksha? One who does it willingly, faithfully, with all efforts, in this very path, he is bound to get realization of God. So this is how Sabda Brahmadi Vartate. Yes, of course. Will he not attain moksha? One who is established in samadhi, he will be absolutely free from the effects of the Vedic rituals and ceremonies. He will not care for it. This is how he will go beyond Vedas, Sabda Brahma. From different angles it is seen. He will enjoy the eternal bliss and the everlasting peace of the eternal and aspirant who is desirous of obtaining moksha alone is not affected by the sin of non-performance of actions, even if he renounces all the obligatory and optional or accessional duties. He goes beyond the word of Brahman. These scriptures or the Vedas. Indirectly he indicates here what is already mentioned before. Javanarthe udapane sarvatah sampluto dake tavan sarvesu vedesu brahmanasya vijanatah. A true knower of the absolute truth has no use of Vedas, just as one is standing in the midst of the flood water. He doesn't care for a handful of water. Everywhere there is water and water. The fish is not desirous for water because he is born in water, his life is in water only. Similarly, a person who has achieved the goal and who knows it and who is striving for it and gets established in it, he has to care a jot for all these helping hands who were before supporting him. Just as my example, you have come all along from a distant place, from Delhi to Uttarakanchi by a car. Now the car has helped you all through the road, but you have to leave the car at the gate side out. You have to come by walk and you have to go to your room without the car. It is to be left outside the gate. It is useless now, though it had helped you to its level best. Similarly, Vedas are useful as long as they have not gone beyond. And when one has gone beyond it, just as the zone of silence beyond the horizon of events, now there is no remembrance of, no memory of your events. It is gone forever. When such is the case of an aspirant who is without any spiritual inclinations or sanskaras of the previous birth, how much more exalted will be the state of the student who has done yogic practices in his previous birth, who has fallen from yoga. In his previous birth, and who has taken up yoga in this birth also, renouncing all the worldly activities. Now there is another question, of course we shall see it tomorrow. See, what is about duties? Should we give up our duties? Dharma. Dharma means the duty ought to be done. That is called your dharma. There are so many duties. This we shall discuss tomorrow. Tomorrow, of course, Gita class we will have. But daytime we will not have our Yoga Vasishtha class because we will be engaged in worshipping our Ganga Mother, the mother of all the creatures and the pure most heavenly medicine only, flow of medicine, it is not water. So it is the source of our life, as water, as medicine, and as support from all sides of our life. We have to remember it, we have to respect it. So tomorrow we shall have this session again. Please don't forget to discuss about the duties, dharma. Is it not dharma to go through Vedas and to obey the injunctions, practice the injunctions given by the scriptures? Is it not your duty? How can you give it up? Of course, from one angle we have discussed it. As long as it is helping you, you should not give it up. But when the goal is achieved, then you have to throw it. But as per your duties, should you give it up in between also? What is your duty? This is most important point. Everywhere this question is raised. What should we do as our duties? What should we not do? What is to be done? What is not to be done? Kim karma kima karmeti kavayo pyatra mohitaha. Even the great wise people, they are bewildered to decide what is duty and what is not. This we shall discuss tomorrow. Most interesting point. And very necessary. We have to know every step of our life. We have to be careful what to do and what not to do. or else the result will be something against our desire, our goal. One should be always careful. In every step you have to consider whether my step ahead is right or wrong. Tomorrow we shall see. Hari Om. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnada Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadguru Bhagavan ki jai. Sachidananda Bhagavan ki jai. Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. Gita Mata ki jai. Hari Om.